Old Man Orange podcast, brought to you by Sprite Zero. Oh yeah, Sprite. It's a kick in the dick.
It's a kick in the dick. Brought by the Coca-Cola production. No, the one thing I want to say about this, what's the difference between Sprite Zero and Diet Sprite?
Well, I don't know, because the whole point of like Coke Zero was the fact that it has the Coke taste, but no caffeine and no calories. Because the Diet Coke still has caffeine in it. Mm-hmm. So Sprite Zero, I don't know, because Diet Sprite and regular Sprite taste kind of the same. They don't really taste. It's not that big of a difference. So I don't know what they took out of it. They made the can blue.
We're not really jamming the corporate dick down our throat. We're more just giving like a light hand job. That's all it is.
But tastes like a Sprite.
Yeah, it tastes like a Sprite.
Slaps you in the face like a Sprite.
Yeah.
I guess doesn't.
I wonder why the Coca-Cola products have never really contacted us to like some more infomercials for them. Shit.
I don't know. I think with Sprite, I think it's those ones like or sodas nowadays.
With amazing advertising.
People don't like the word diet anymore. I think diet's totally out of the question. So that's why they gotta put like the zero on there. Like zero, 2000s, new, fuck diet. That was so like last 30 years.
Like in the 80s, like zero was bad. Like that movie Less Than Zero. So
yeah. Well, in the 70s is like when like they invented like Diet Coke. Yeah. Remember Hulk Hogan like talked about it. He was like, because Hulk Hogan was a big fat kid at first, and then he was like, then they brought like the Diet Coke out, and I went down to Burger King every day and got a burger and lost weight. That's like you never hear that anymore nowadays.
Aspartame, help me out.
You never heard like I went down to Burger King, got a burger and fries, or I might not got fries, but like got like the healthiest thing on the menu and got a Diet Coke and lost weight. You
know what Hulk Hogan is? He's the proto Jared.
Yeah, Jared went to Burger King. And...
Yeah, Jared with Burger King.
Did you hear about the thing? Like this is probably like 2 weeks ago, but like some guys tried to sue Subway because he measured the sandwiches and they're not 12 inches, they're 11 inches.
Really? Mm-hmm. Some guy sued him over that?
No, he's trying to.
Oh, he's trying to. Okay.
He must have a lot of free time.
Yeah, well, it's that's one less inch of bread. You don't really need that, do you?
Well, yeah, it's like those ones like is that? I mean, like okay, I could see maybe if it was like maybe pushing 10 inches, you'd be like, dude, what the fuck? It's like fucking 3 inches. I'm not getting 3 inches. I can't shove it in my throat. Of bread. Yeah.
Well, listening to Wham,
putting some like ham in there and just go.
Guzzling down ham while listening to Wham. How about that?
I was playing the other day. I was playing Megaman X. When was the last time you played Megaman?
I'll be honest, I didn't really grow up playing a whole lot of Mega Man. I primarily played a lot of, what I played. But,
people, you know what I played. I mean, look at me.
If you listen long enough, well, for those of you, if this is the first one you're listening to, or you just jumped in or whatever, I play a lot of, played a lot of like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario in the 90s and all that. Just very, I know it's kind of a generic list right there. But I didn't really play a lot of Mega Man. I have the Mega Man, like, hits collection, the first one, not the X one, the original one. Mm-hmm. And,
do you have that for GameCube?
I have for GameCube.
You know what always bothered me in that GameCube one?
The A and B button?
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Yeah. That like bothered me forever. I don't know why that is.
I played it, I'm like, I remember why. I never really played Mega Man, because it was so fucking hard.
Well, yeah, but that's just a control scheme. It's like, I think it's like, B is jump, A is shoot.
It should be the other way around. And
now I haven't played, even to this day, I don't think I've played it on regular Nintendo since that collection came out. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it was even like that on regular Nintendo. I mean, if it is, maybe it is, but I don't know. I was like, what the fuck is
this? You couldn't change the controls?
No. Couldn't change controls.
Huh.
It's like the only reason I kind of recommend getting that for PlayStation more than that, even though I have it for GameCube. But they fixed on the X one. The X one's fine. But whatever, fuck it. I just play it on emulators nowadays because you can save anywhere.
I wonder, that internet must have exploded that day when that game came out and people went out and bought it.
Like, yeah, it's just like
because that's everybody I know that has played that game complains with the A and B button.
Well, it's just one of those ones. It's hard to get fucking
almost
used
10
to.
years ago, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah, it's hard to get fucking used to that shit.
It's like Phantom Menace.
No, but I was playing Mega Man X again, and I just went and beat it in like a night or two or something. It was great. I love that game. I think that game has one of the best like scores. Like every song in that game is like a fucking classic.
Mega Man X. Now, maybe you could clarify this for me. Is that kind of like Mega Man, like getting the post-dark like future, or is it more of like
it's something like it's like 100 years after the Mega Man 1 or
humans
the Mega
are
Man,
dead?
universe and whatnot. I think. Well, yeah, everybody's dead. And it's just like Dr. Light's like, oh, I've trapped myself in this Star Wars time capsule thing and put these boots on and put this helmet on and
Dr. Light.
Take these pants off really quickly. I may be dead, but it doesn't mean I don't like to look at little robots naked.
Dr. Light, that always kind of threw me off when you take something very... Because, I mean, even though it's still probably kid-friendly, when you take something that was like, I guess, like, hey, look, you got your fun dog, you got your sister, like, they're all dead. Everyone you know is dead.
Yeah.
Even what happened to Dr. Wily? Like, Mega Man ripped his heart out or something in front of him?
Well, you know what's the one thing that always bothered me about Mega Man? Is that, okay, I don't mind that Mega Man has, like, that I am Mega Man voice! Like, when he's, like, Mega Man, but why does fucking X still have that voice?
I thought X had a badass voice.
Nope. X still, like, I remember because, like, when I was
X is what he's called. I was thinking Zero. X had a...
No, because I remember when being a kid, because I was playing, you know, I only played Mega Man on, like, Super Nintendo. And then when that Mega Man X4 came out, it was just like, oh, I wonder what Mega Man... He must sound pretty badass. Because on Mega Man 8, he has that voice. But then you realize, no, it's the same fucking voice he has in Mega Man 8.
100 years, same voice.
Even though technically, when on Mega Man X, when you get the Hadouken, you can hear Mega Man's
the
voice.
Hadouken?
Yeah.
Right
it's
on.
really cool. It's like, once you get all the shit, all the guns, all the armor, all the health packs, all that stuff, then you do this stupid jumping thing, you have to do it and kill yourself. I don't know how anybody fucking figured it out without, like, a fucking strategy guide or internet. But,
90s, they had some fucking time.
You literally do the Hadouken, he's like, and it kills everything in one hit, but you have to have full health.
That's pretty awesome. Does he actually go, Hadouken? Does he do that shit?
Yeah, but he goes, Hadouken! Like, all high-pitched.
Well, they eventually came out the Mega Man games to the PlayStation 2 and all that, where it was like, even though it was like the Mega Man X and whatever, it was actually, it was 3D and all that.
Yeah, I never played those ones, actually. Mm-hmm. It was one of those... Really, the only thing about Mega Man games, I will say this, is like, I feel like you're like overwhelmed with Mega Man games. That was like the main thing about it.
They had the Battle Network, which people loved. I never played that one.
Well, I mean, like, there is so many fucking... I mean... There is 8 well, there's 10 now if you include those 2 that came out recently. So there's 10 fucking regular Mega Man games. Mm-hmm. Plus, there's also that Mega Man and Base game, which back in the day used to be called Mega Man 9, but now it's not really.
Is it the one where you and actually I'm thinking there's the fighting, there's a sort of fighting game where it played like a normal
No, yeah. Now that I haven't got those in. There's the 2 fighting ones for the arcade that are on that collection. Mm-hmm. I actually fucking in Reno, there was one of those places that actually had the arcade cabinet of that. Mm-hmm. Blew your fucking mind.
Was Base a bad guy or a good guy?
Base was pretty much created to be like... He's like Metal Sonic. I guess that's like the best way I can say it.
Isn't that what Proto was? Or is Proto like the Knuckles? No,
Proto's like the... I guess you could say he's like the Knuckles, but he's like Mega Man's older brother.
He starts off as a bad guy and becomes good?
Yeah, he's kind of like that. It's like, I was the first one created.
Because I remember he was the bad guy in the Saturday morning cartoon. The Saturday morning cartoon, they played it very serious. I remember there was an episode where...
wasn't it on like USA or something? And you had like watch it at 5 in the morning?
I think so. I think it was on
Back in the day when like anime just came in like short bursts.
It wasn't an anime. It was actually an American show. I remember being American at least.
I thought it was an anime.
I want to say it was
like
American.
Mega Man or like fighting robots, Mega Man.
I want to say that. I don't believe that was an anime.
I thought it was an anime.
I don't think that was.
But then again, back then that was a time when it was kind of hard to like differentiate because you're like differentiate.
Their lips move different. That was the only thing you really noticed in their eyes.
Well, it's like it was ones because it like threw you off because you like nobody told you what the word anime was. They just kind of like shoved this into a time slot like Ninja Turtles, X-Men, then just pop that in there. Just pop it in there. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
The animation's slightly different. Kind of reminds you of Speed Racer, but Speed Racer's gotta be all American, right?
With a name like Speed.
Yeah, come on. I mean, he's fucking driving cars.
I kind of want. I'll jump back on Mega Man for a second. Do you think Speed Racer? Do you think his name in the there's like Ma, Pa, Speed Racer, and all that? Do you think those were their names in the Japanese ones? They just said, kids won't remember Tashinoko or whatever. Name him Speed. Just call it Dad Mom or call Dad and call.
Call the dad.
There's my moment of the fucking day. Jesus. It's off to a fucking bang up start.
You don't hear as much about Speed Racer anymore.
Yeah.
It's just one of those ones like...
I think the movie was the last hurrah, really.
The movie was the last hurrah, and even still... I mean, like, I guess they made that little CG show for a bit, but... When was the last time they made, like, a fucking Speed Racer game?
Probably, I think, PlayStation 2.
They made one for PlayStation 2?
I remember there being I think there was a PlayStation 2 one. There may be one based on the new cartoon.
The last one I remember, there was one for Super Nintendo, and then there's one for PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And then they had the arcade one. They had it like Disneyland. Mm-hmm. But
that one was fucking badass. Can you just play Speed?
I think so.
I mean, who else would you really want to play it? I can't really name out. I can remember the name of the characters from the movie because I didn't really watch the cartoon a whole lot. I remember
I think you just played Speed, but the coolest thing about like that game is like you fucking had all like the gadgets and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been, I don't know, I haven't, that game was there like in Disneyland circa 1997.
Well, arcades are barely like getting by anymore anyway, and I think that the only game like that could survive in an arcade. So yeah,
I bet you if you went to Disneyland right now, it wouldn't be there.
Yeah, no, but I remember there was a game. It blew your fucking mind when you were a kid. But there was that one game that it was like the Star Wars trilogy game. And it was just a shooter. All you had was a joystick.
The arcade one? Star Wars Arcade?
And it blew your mind when you first saw it, but now you're like, oh, whatever.
It actually still blows my mind. That's still a pretty sweet game, though.
It doesn't really blow my mind as much. It's just very much... I remember when at first it did, but you just kind of realize, when you're a kid, you don't realize it. Like, maybe I could get by just on like four quarters. But then you realize, no, that you're kind of... Some games you're made to lose, and you gotta
that game, it's like... Well, I watched Cisco beat it before. But yeah, that was back in the day when that was one of those games that was expensive fucking game. It was $4.
It was a whole $1 just for the game,
So you're like, oh, I gotta shell out some money.
Yeah. And then I remember they had the bonus stage where you have the lightsaber and you had to deflect the lasers from Boba Fett, or you had to fight Darth Vader. Yeah.
Did you ever play the virtual reality Star Wars one?
No.
They had that in Camelot Park or whatever. Or maybe it was Funworks. Can't remember. But in like Modesto, and you put like the helmet thing on. Kind of like that Beachhead game. Have you ever played that one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like that. You put a little helmet thing on. You got a little controller down below, and I think it was literally.
Was it the trench?
No, it wasn't a flying one. It was literally like pretty much a first-person shooter versus mode game in a sense. You either you played against a computer or you could play against your friend. But it was only like 2 players. It was very like in a sense primitive and simple.
Was it very like Doom kind of?
Yeah, kind of more Doom-ish. But more, I guess, because it was in like the later 90s, so it was a little bit more 3D than that.
Yeah.
Well, technically, Doom isn't 3D at all. It's all 2D. It's a fucking illusion of your mind.
What was I gonna say about Doom? I heard something like in the 90s, like they were like there's some like Christian game, some Christian company that wanted to They made some kind of deal with Nintendo, and they got pissed off at Nintendo because Nintendo backed down out of it. So they
Nintendo does like to back down every once in a while.
Yeah. So they made like a deal with, I think it was either Doom or Wolfenstein. What they did is Wolfenstein, like they were pissed off at Nintendo too for
Doom and Wolfenstein, same company.
It is? Oh. Okay. Anyway, well, they handed them off the engine and said, all right, Gear, just fuck with Nintendo. Here you go. And they made some kind of like Noah's Ark game using that engine where you had to go around just collecting sheep just to piss off Nintendo. And it was like an illegal game that did not get a Nintendo seal on it or nothing like that.
Yeah, there's some games out there like that. Do you know what's actually... There's these things nowadays. I've seen it a couple times, but I didn't realize there was like a lot of these. Where people take like either their kind of like modded, like updated version of, let's say, an old game, or they take like their hack version and they put it literally on like a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis cart. You can physically buy, so you can actually have like this copy of either a homemade game, I guess you can call it. When you say homemade, it doesn't sound nearly the same, but and play it on your Super Nintendo.
I just got the image of like a mom pulling a couple of cartridges out of an oven.
There's a site I was looking up yesterday. It was called like I was cruising on eBay, and then there was some shit on there. I was like, what the fuck is this game? This is not. It's clearly not real.
It's like the Sonic. There's like that Sonic one you had.
Not necessarily. I mean, I guess you could say sort of like that, but
no, because like you have on that. We should probably explain that for a second. You have your Wii modded, and you have like some like illegally made Sonic game on there. They're just like, does this guy even fucking know what Sonic is, aside the fact he's a blue hedgehog that likes rings? Is that all
weird? That was that thing. Okay, that was from like 1998, where somebody's like, you're like, what the fuck, Sonic on Super Nintendo? And like people would lie to you on the internet, like, yeah, dude, they had a Sonic, they just never released. But no, there's a site called like TimeWalkGaming.com, and it's they put all these cool games. So it's like what somebody's done is they've taken like Castlevania 2, and they like sped up the text. It was all fucking slow. You know, back in some of these Nintendo games, like, you must go to the city and find. And you're like, Jesus Christ,
get to the fucking point.
Yeah, and then they did a bunch of other things too to it. I think they made the text more clear and fix some minor things and like that. But you can literally buy that cart, and somebody goes out and they make the box, and they do all this like a lot of work, so you could actually play it on your regular Nintendo.
It's kind of like when you bought like the X-Men on when you bought the X-Men cartoon on DVD, somebody went out of their way and made like a bootleg box for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I bought that like before they even put the X-Men 1992 show on DVD.
Yeah.
It was on eBay and I saw it on there. It was like $15. I'm like, oh my god, the incomplete series. But then you look at this, like, I mean, I know it's burnt and all that stuff, but just the fact that somebody put all this time and effort to, like,
you still get the Fox Kids logo in the corner
well, yeah,
every
it looks
once
like
in a while.
they almost came off like VHS tapes that like he taped off at the time. But yeah, but no, these ones are a little bit more official looking. I mean, they look fucking awesome. I mean, they're kind of expensive. Like on the site, they're like $60, and it's like, I mean, I know it's homemade, but it's like, oh, well, that's a little pricey. But like, there's a bunch of stuff on there. There's like kind of like Zelda ones that they've made, kind of based off Link to the Past. There's a like kind of like
and their own versions of the game.
Yeah, their own versions. There's
using
like
sprites. And
there's
whatnot.
one called like they pretty much just use like the same engine and the same look, but then they add shit to it, fix kind of like those minor problems in games. There's one called like Oh No, More Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Or somebody, like, they literally spent 10 years and they made, like, a brand new 55 levels.
So kind of like the Retro City that never got any publicity.
Well, yeah, well, it's like, what they're kind of doing, like, it's kind of like sometimes they make, like, sequels for games that you always kind of wish there was a sequel for.
Jet Force Gemini.
I know there's that Ghoul Patrol one that's not, it is a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but it's clearly not the exact same thing. I think it's
different team or something.
It's made by just LucasArts. It doesn't have Konami involved, so we clearly learned that something was totally missing. But no, like, yeah, so they put all this extra effort into it. It's just fucking badass. You know, I don't know.
That's dedication, doing that for free and not really. Well, I guess they're grinding off online.
They get paid, but you know, I mean, in a sense,
not a whole lot of money. Probably not 10 years worth.
No, and I've heard of a couple other things too. There's some other games like full on original games, and they're making it kind of like in an older style. But then they're making little carts out of them too. So
and just now, have these always been around, or just now are they coming out?
I don't know. Well, I saw a couple before, but it wasn't very many. It was like you saw two, and you're like, that's kind of cool. And you saw, I was like, you know, probably almost nobody does. It's probably a very novelty thing. But this site blew my mind at how many different ones were on there. I mean, you could get all kinds of ones. I mean, somebody took like a Mario 3 and made like pretty much a brand new Mario 3 out of it.
Alrighty.
I mean, all these games, like, if I was really rich, I'd buy these and try them all out, but it's $60 a crack. I'm not too sure how good these games are.
Oh, wait, they're $60 a piece?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like, okay, never mind. I didn't hear that it was $60 a piece, but...
Now, you could probably go out and download them, too, somewhere, but...
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I'm fucking ripping them off. That's the case.
This is what I would do, probably. If I downloaded it, and I enjoyed it, I would maybe go out and buy it, because the thing is, those things are probably worth a ton of money anyways, because, I mean, how many are they going to make? Like, 500 copies?
Something like that, probably.
I know that there's, I've drawn a blank on it, but there's this one RPG, and they only made so many copies, and this is a brand new game. This wasn't like a mod or a hack or anything like that, or a sequel to something that already exists. It was a full-on brand new game. And those copies, I mean, they probably sold them for like $40, but they're like $80, $90 on eBay, just because there's just not that many of them. But it's kind of cool, and I hear people doing it like with... They'll take their games, put it like on a Dreamcast and stuff like that too, and they make all official like looking like cases and booklet.
And these are just with cartridge games or others. They probably have them for other systems. I'm assuming they probably
cartridges. There's some for Sega CD.
There's
Super
probably
Nintendo.
got to be a few 64 ones. I bet.
I haven't seen a 64 one yet. No, I haven't seen one there.
Every once in a while,
I noticed they're mostly regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and then a couple miscellaneous. Like I've seen a Sega CD, I've seen Genesis, and then I've seen what the fuck else have I seen? Oh, Dreamcast. But just because Dreamcast, you can put like anything on there. It's like the system doesn't have a good like copyright security. So every
once in a while, you just kind of like, you know, you fall into that like abyss of YouTube where you just kind of tend to go in there like, I'm just gonna look at something for like 10 minutes, and you just fall into this abyss. Like, oh, related video, then you end up just watching. What the fuck is this? You know.
Well, that's what I fell in yesterday. It was like I was looking on eBay just at Castlevania shit. Just you know, crap you don't need, but you kind of want to look at. And so I ran across it, and I ran across this regular Nintendo one. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" You know. So I was looking at it, and I was like, "I can't." And it was just like, I'm like, "That's not a real one." There's only 3 Castlevanias for regular Nintendo. So then I just type it in like, you know, Bing search engine, and that Time Walk Gaming comes up. You gotta take a look at that. It's called Time Walk Gaming. Go there.
Time Walk Gaming.
Just look at all the stuff they have on there. I wish they had a better description of everything though, or more screenshots and stuff. Because when I'm paying $60 for something, I like to at least know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
But they got there was a ton of crap on there. I mean, there's probably at least 50 different cartridges you could buy off there. And they're all either mods, like fake sequels. They always
when looking at it, you have the fear if you buy it that like sudden like Mario just gonna swing through the window like in SWAT gear or something, like bash you in the side of the head.
Fucking Samus comes in and just starts shooting shit in your house.
They shoot up the TV. They grab the cartridge. They like shoot it on the ground.
Mario, they all go out. Then Mario comes back in with a fucking hammer and just starts bashing your Xbox and PlayStation. You're like, dude, what the fuck?
He's all like,
throws the Nintendo Wii U.
But he looks at Sam. He's like, spread out his hands. What? Spread out his hands. He starts like breaking your hands, like fucking like
in Casino,
like or yeah, like that, or fucking like Jack Nicholson and fucking Departed.
Oh yeah,
starts breaking your hands. Like, let's see, enjoy those games now, motherfucker. And then they just leave. Same thing happens with Mario.
And then puts like a coupon down for like a Wii U.
Gives you like, or leaves like a coupon for like 5 Nintendo points.
Yeah, online.
5 Nintendo online dollars.
Free like e-store download.
Yeah. But he broke your 3DS on the way out. Oops, you know.
Guess you gotta buy the 3DS XL now.
But no, what was I going to say regarding that?
That 3DS XL, though, I was kind of surprised at how big that screen is, though.
That came out of nowhere. I went to some...
I knew it was there, because I saw it come out, and I was like, that's cool, I already have one.
I went to a friend's house the other day, and she has had this the 3DS XL. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, 3DS XL. I heard nothing about it. I was like...
Didn't Cisco bring it by the other day, though?
Well, that was the next day. Cisco brought it by. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? You know? So I've been so out of the loop as far as, like, all these new stuff coming out. I'm just,
Yeah, I knew that came out, but it's like, I've always just owned the original. When it comes to like Game Boys, I always just owned the original one. Mm-hmm. I just had the regular fucking original DS.
When everybody else was bringing in like...
And then the DS Lite came out, didn't get that. Then the DS I came out, didn't get that. The DSi XL didn't get that. 3DS got that one. I probably won't get anything else from that point on.
I got the 3DS. The thing already cost me like...
The upside to that one, though, is that one is... Here's the one thing that's going to be better than the XL, though. Is the resolution's the exact same on both of them. Mm-hmm. So even Cisco showed me, he put like a regular DS game in there, and it didn't look nearly as good. So that's the only thing you can say is the quality's just going to look a little bit better on the smaller screen. Exactly, yeah. There you go. That's my selling point for that thing.
You can buy it, but the resolution's not going to be as good. They just have that in the commercial.
Yeah.
Nintendo, we're maybe not the best marketing strategists, but we're fucking honest, you know.
But it was pretty fucking badass.
But no, going back, because we mentioned the thing about X-Men real quick. This is a little bit off topic, but Singer, you're such a big X-Men fan, thought you might find this interesting. So you probably know by this point, Bryan Singer is actually doing the... people just think, did a fucking raptor just walk in after that burp right there? No.
Isn't he doing that Jack and the Beanstalk movie?
Well, he did that, unfortunately, which I'm not going to bother with. But
no, that was retarded.
I don't know. I'm kind of tired of all this fairy tale stuff coming out.
Well, it's like now the problem I just have with those fairy tale things is just like nobody can make a story where it's just like let's just have the real thing. Everything has to be so
let's
fucking
have the
over
real
the top.
fairy tale.
Well, that's what I mean though. It's like everything has to be so over the top. Like, do people can't just handle? And I always go with the battleship argument. When is two ships fighting each other not cool anymore? Yeah. When is just two fucking ships blowing the shit out of each other not cool?
Yeah, I could. That movie is purely. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the movie. I'm just talking about just like the concept that like that's not cool. It's just two ships fighting each other.
Well, if you called it like Alien Navy or some bullshit like that, okay, but just don't call it Battleship.
Yeah, but anyway, Battleship make it realistic.
But no, but this
or make it 90s.
Make it 90s. The two kids get sucked into the board game. The people on are just like plastic, the little red and white like plastic like pieces you put down, like marching along the ship. You know. What should we do? Oh, I gotta go against my friend Trevor, played by Pauly Shore. Whoa, Weasel. You know, doing that
no, they'd be kids. They wouldn't be like teenagers. But
I can see him.
I can see like 2 10-year-old kids.
I can
see stuff, and just like these kids are the only for some reason they're the only people that could be like the commanders now. They're like, I'm in control now. We gotta kill Jimmy. Fuck Jimmy.
It'd be a PG flick. And
this game is made for keeps.
At some point, like, one of them dodges an attack. It's like, psych! They say the word psych. Do you remember that? They had the fucking shitty, like, those fucking, like... I remember that was like Rice Krispies commercials in the 90s. For a while, they had those commercials like, would you want some Rice... They're just teaching kids to be shitty little pricks, you know? It's like...
90s!
Yeah, it was like, they show kids coming down water slides and shit, you know? And then at some point, like, with a bowl of cereal, he's all like, would you want some Rice Krispies? Yeah, sure. Psych! Pulls it away. I like to do the version where they do it to like a fucking homeless person. You want some Rice Krispies?
Oh, geez, thanks, kids. Psych!
Then all of a sudden the old man just gets all pissed off. pulls out like a fucking dirty needle, starts stabbing the kid with it.
Oh! And
I lost my legs for you pricks and fucking nom.
He doesn't fucking eat the Rice Krispies, he just eats the kid. It's like, you'll be mine.
You just see the fucking Rice Krispies box. Like, Rice Krispies. Part of that's what you see in the background, just this guy just fucking munching down on this child's corpse.
You're getting so excited, you're spitting everywhere.
It happens. That's what happens when I drink Sprite Zero. I get excited.
It's funny, because I get kind of dehydrated when I drink Sprite Zero.
Sprite Zero. Anyway, back to the main point. Bryan Singer, so he's currently going to direct the new X-Men. And they're actually making a big deal about it, because they're apparently saying, like, this is going to be the biggest X-Men films. Because when you look at the other ones, I mean, they're big.
The last couple ones have kind of been, like, slightly under the radar, I guess. Because even though First Class was a really good movie, it just kind of felt like it came out. There.
Yeah, but this one... Well, they're making a thing out of this one saying, oh, it's going to be a huge movie. It's going to be like the biggest X-Men movie because they're doing Days of Future Past. Mm-hmm. So, and I never read the story, but I know the overall plot of it.
That's one of the stories, like, it blows your mind in, like, 1982. Nowadays, you're like, oh, that's nice.
And today I read, like, on IGN that the guy was asking, well, since you're planning this whole time travel thing, I'm going to fix some of the things that was wrong with what people complain about X-Men 3. Because a lot of people want Cyclops and Jean Grey back. So he's saying we might do something that's... He wasn't completely clear. He was answering the questions, but not being 100% clear on it. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, like, it might be kind of like a parallel time thing. It might happen before X-Men 3, so it's one of those things. Well, I guess we'll find out when the movie comes out. He says he couldn't speak a whole lot on it, but he says it might be like when they go back in time, or into the future, it might be a parallel time change or something like that.
It's kind of like in Dragon Ball Z, how, like...
Trunks...
You can't... Like, why don't we just go destroy it? Well, that wouldn't fucking work. Because you just see, that's a different world. You're like, well, what the fuck? Like, then how are you going to get back? I can't now. Because technically, I'd be going back to a different world. So all the stuff I'm doing here, I'm really just helping you guys, but I'm not helping myself.
Well, he finds out the hard way, because he goes there and finds out that it doesn't really change or something.
Yeah, I know. He's like, fuck! At least I'm Super Saiyan 2 now.
Yeah. So I guess they're taking cues from Dragon Ball Z then or something, but...
I just think that's kind of confusing when you start having, like, parallel universes, when you start time traveling. Like, can we just keep it in one world?
Well, I guess because a lot of people, they want Nightcrawler back, they want, like, Nightcrawler back, they want Jean Grey and Cyclops back. One of my biggest things is, I know it's probably just casting issues, mm-hmm. but they said they couldn't get that dude back because he was going to do Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. And the thing about X-Men, the upside to X-Men, though, is, well, it's like if you look at the X-Men comics... A lot of those characters aren't in, like, all the comics, because it changes so much that, like, because Cyclops is not the main, he's only the main character, really, like, in, like, the very, like, original X-Men style. And then after that, then it's really, like, the Wolverine Storm show. Mm-hmm. You know, and then they come back to it eventually, but, they you know, they kind of all disband and split up, so it's like, X-Men just has so many characters that you can kind of...
Just filter through.
I mean, I know Cyclops is one of the biggest characters.
Well, my thing is, it's kind of one of those things,
but it's not to me, it's not like, it's like, to me, it's like... X-Men has so many characters that you could literally do a movie with a complete bunch of characters that aren't, like, well, First Class is a perfect example. Generally, I mean, other than Magneto and Xavier, you can do it with a bunch of just random-ass characters and still get away with it. Just there's so many. It's not like one of those ones like, well, we're not going to have Batman in this Batman movie.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Cyclops
or Superman, well, you know, he'll have a cameo appearance.
My thing with Cyclops is, like, he dies in the first 10 minutes. That was kind of my thing. It just
even though he pretty much, if Xavier comes back, that means Cyclops can come back in that very last scene. I think that's...
They earlier on they presented the whole thing like there's the guy that's in a coma, so that guy was there kind of waiting because it was like earlier on in the movie like here's a dude in a coma, and they never really come back to him until after the credits. So his mind went to that. I guess that was his double or his stand-in or something like that he can go to. My thing, it just seems kind of I guess it brings that he could. It just seems kind of weird. Don't kill him off just because you can't get that actor. Just get someone else to cast him because he didn't even really do a whole lot.
Yeah, because to me it's like those ones like nowadays it seems they can do that because they did in Batman where you just recast some completely different actress. But that's the thing, dude. Just recast somebody else. It's a movie. They're characters. They're not necessarily
Yeah.
Who cares about the actor? It's the character.
Exactly. But even though that guy's a good actor.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't think he did a whole lot as Cyclops in X-Men 1 or 2. So. And that was just something I had trouble getting past in that one, but whatever. Anyway, but this one, they're saying it's going to be a really big movie. And, I mean, I guess all X-Men films are technically kind of big, but, I mean, like a big grand scale flick. And they're going to bring in Sentinels. They're making a big deal about the Sentinels and all that. So, Bryan Singer, he was kind of very vague a lot of his answers, but you could tell he's kind of into it. So
that's cool. And when's that supposed to come out? Next year?
Somewhere in 2014, I believe.
Oh, so a couple years. Or 2014. No, next year.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get Wolverine this one. And it's focused on the whole Silver Samurai part of the story.
Oh, is that actually come out this year?
Yeah, they have cool. they released a motion poster of Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman, shirt off, just wearing jeans, holding a katana, kneeling down on a building. You see Tokyo behind him. It's raining.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. At least there's always been kind of... They got a constant flow of X-Men. That's the one series, I will say, compared to everything else, it seems at least they just keep releasing ones.
And they have like a million, side stories. A million, spin-off and offshoots.
Yeah, I mean, X-Men's got a lot... Well, just like anything else that's been around for the...
Isn't Excalibur like the British X-Men?
Yeah, it's the British X-Men. Well, that's like in the 80s they started splitting up. So like the regular X-Men became like pretty much the Wolverine and Storm show. And then they had Excalibur, which was like pretty much all the England characters. And then they had X-Force, which was like the original X-Men characters, like Cyclops and Jean and Beast and all that stuff. And then they even go farther to like, where they got like, even the characters' single issues, like Gambit has his own. And,
Wolverine, I think his series
oh yeah,
is
Wolverine
still going
has his
on.
own. A bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
X-Men's got a lot.
Yeah.
Then again, so is Batman, so is Superman, so is Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it. Because, for a while, even though, I'd say probably First Class is my favorite of the X-Men films. I know a lot of people would say blasphemy about that, but that's just personally my favorite.
I don't know why people would say blasphemy.
You think, a lot of people seem to like the first two the most.
Really?
Yeah, from what I noticed.
Huh.
But anyway, I'm kind of surprised, because that movie, it seemed like some of the characters, granted, I'm not really, Old Man Logan is probably one of my favorite books. One of my favorite comic books I ever read. And ironic, because it's by Mark Millar. But that's regardless, that's one of my favorite books. And I was just surprised to see they pulled off a movie where it just seemed like we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for certain characters. Banshee was cool, but there are certain other characters they were just like, where the fuck did that guy come from?
Well, yeah, some of those characters are like, oh, okay.
Because you're an X-Men fan, you even know who some of those characters were.
Yeah, some of those characters are like, that must be new. I don't know. Even though X-Men was once like, there's so many characters, it's kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But the only problem I always have Banshee is like, why the fuck does he have an accent? That's my biggest problem to all the X-Men movies is just like, why is there no accents? I like the movies, but like, why? Like, is accents that fucking hard? You know what I mean? That's what makes the X-Men kind of what it is, because it's worldly. Mm-hmm. By not giving them accents, it makes it seem like everything takes place in America.
Halle Berry had a sort of African accent in the first one, but it disappears with the second one.
Yeah. The only people have like the accents like fucking Magneto and Professor X. That was like the only two people that do like the parts perfect.
They're smart, so they're British.
Yeah. Well, Magneto's Jewish, but...
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just talking about...
Yeah, they always have... just kind of like when they do ancient time movies. Like anything that takes place like 200 years ago, everybody has like English accents.
Even
Doesn't matter where
Rome.
the fuck... They come from Greek, they come from Rome, they come from fucking Persia. They all have English accents.
Germany.
Yeah. Hell, I guess.
Well, it takes place in the olden time, so I guess that means they give them the British accent,
Yeah. Olden time.
Everybody was British back in the old days.
Olden time, British, English.
Yeah.
There's actually really like absolutely no good movies coming out there for a while. Really, the G.I. Joe 2 is the best movie that's coming out, and that doesn't come out for like a month and a half. Plus.
What comes out this week? Snitch or whatever?
Yeah, that one does. But there's really nothing like that. The movies might, who knows? Sometimes movies they could be good, but there's nothing jumps out at me. Yeah.
Where speaking of movies,
I'd be like the guy. There's nothing good. There's just shit coming out.
It's like that South Park episode. You just see shit and hear shit everywhere. No, there is actually. I want to say this real quick. This is completely off topic, but you're a big fan of this movie, and I want a second opinion. I was actually watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid a little while ago. And something I'm surprised I didn't put together sooner. But you know like how Butch, Sundance, and Etta kind of have a thing going on? How it almost kind of like Butch could almost be with Etta if Sundance didn't get to her first or whatever. They kind of play that off. And Sundance is really just kind of like, whatever about it.
Do you think they should just have a three-way before the
I'm wondering if they ever did have a three-way, because they seem way too comfortable together. You know,
they are very comfortable.
They're extremely comfortable, and there's even that part where he's all like Etta leaves, and he's like, I don't give a shit. At least I'm here with Butch, you know?
Probably. I could see it. Now, do you ever feel bad? Like, okay, now do they go to Ecuador? Is that where they go to?
I believe they go to Ecuador.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't remember the exact. It's some South American country. Who the fuck knows? Not real
America,
America. Not real America. It's South America. But you ever just feel bad? There's like all these like people like, oh, come on in. Like, so I just feel like okay,
just robbing
when they're in the U.S., it's like they're robbing kind of like evil banks. But when they're down there, I just feel like, whoa, we have a bank. It is our pride. We worship it every day. It's like just going and rob these poor people. Like, give me your like $250.
That's the magic of like fucking Robert Redford and Paul Newman. It's just like, oh, you can't be mad at those guys, you know, because they're really doing something horrible. Because
they're really just like rob. Just like to me, it's like, well, at first you guys felt like you're kind of like, you know, you're being kind of
rock stars,
yeah, like kind of Robin Hoodie and stuff. You know, you weren't really giving away to poor, but you know, you're taking down the man. But now you're just taking shit from nice people.
It could be one of those things where it's like they could have done one little thing to help it, which they show kind of like the bank owner, and he's just some like Jabba the Hutt like motherfucker, like he has like 3 women around him. They could have done just something like that, just
he's
real
just
quick.
Punching a baby the whole time.
Yeah, we could steal from this guy easily, you know.
And then eats the baby like that, and then the only other thing I always thought was like, it's maybe a generation thing, but like I always thought the music was kind of like retarded in that movie.
It does throw you off. But
it doesn't fit whatsoever. It's just like that's the only thing that was like.
I still love that flick, but the music
I like the movie a lot, but like the music just like. I mean, I guess somebody could say the same thing about Young Guns, but I feel like the music, like that music, fits with it though. Where this music just feels way out of place. Like that kind of like happy-go-lucky '60s music doesn't fit, I think, in a Western environment.
At least they didn't get like Tiny Tim, like running through the sunshine.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that guy?
No.
Okay, Tiny Tim. I remember when I was a kid, there's an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where they played one of his music. It was like at the very end of when I stopped kind of watching Nickelodeon. And there's an episode where they start playing one of his songs. I'm just like, whatever. Like 3 days ago, someone I know started playing some Tiny Tim, and that song came on. I was like, this is a real person. This is a real band. Is somebody playing on a ukulele? And what I just did, that's not an exaggeration. Actually, you know what? There's a song.
Now, is that from the 60s?
I believe it's from the 60s. Actually, you know what? You've actually have heard. I haven't seen the movie, but people keep on telling me about this. There's a part in Insidious where the devil or whatever is working in his workshop. Apparently, he has that song playing on a record player.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing
I saw it in theaters once. I don't remember the music.
Because it's like this kind of like ukulele. I'm not exaggerating.
Ukulele or a violin or something.
For
some reason, ukulele just doesn't feel like it makes that sound.
That's the way the guy's singing.
Oh, okay.
That's what the guy is singing. And anyway, it could be worse. That like,
well, yeah, the music could be worse.
It could have been that. It could just imagine like what I was just doing over the scenes with music with the music where they have that music going on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too. It's like Burt Bacharach. Burt Bacharach's all good. It just I don't think that music fits. Bon Jovi and fucking Young Guns, that fits. Way different. I don't know why, because I think like that hair metal kind of has that, like that 80s rock has more of a Western feel to it.
Yeah.
Where Burt Bacharach has like a Las Vegas feel, so it feels really weird.
Well, that whole part, like, just even thinking back on the part when like, when Butch Cassidy's riding around on a bike. And the Burt Bacharach, yeah. There's the part where it just turns into like circus music for a second. There's no sound, and he falls over. And then he looks at the cow, and he just makes kind of like a weird smoosh face at the cow, and zooms in on the cow. It's just funny. It gives that zoom in on the cow. The cow does not have a change of expression, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And he gets up, starts running away. The cow starts chasing him. Yeah. Like the cow's like, "I fucking hate queers." You know? I'm gonna kill this steer fucker.
Steer fucker. You know what other movie I saw the other day though, or I saw it about a week ago, but it was that Attack the Block movie.
How was that?
It was okay. It wasn't really amazing.
People told me it was pretty good.
I don't know. It's one of those movies like it's not bad. It's worth watching. Not really worth owning. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine watching it twice.
I know they really advertise like, from the producer of Shaun of the Dead. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those movies like. It's interesting. I guess it goes. It's a really it's a very black English movie that makes any sense.
I know what you mean.
But and I guess in England, black people and white people can both be very black together and be totally fine. Where in America, that doesn't work whatsoever.
I love what Dave Chappelle had a joke similar to that. He's all like, he said like, every once in a while you'll see a group of black thugs, right? And you'll see one white guy with them. Stay the fuck away from that white guy. There's no telling what he did to get those black dudes respect.
Well, in England, though, apparently, though, it's just a common thing. You know, I don't think the white people had to get respect. It's just they're all used to each other. But no, I mean, like, it was interesting. The monsters were kind of... I mean, it had cool stuff about it, but it wasn't... nothing mind-blowing.
Was the violence pretty good?
No, it was just... It was
mainly R for the language?
I mean, like, it was R for the violence, but just this day and age, I mean, it was just like, you know... Moderate violence.
No, I get you.
The creatures are kind of like... They kind of remind me of, like, that thing, sort of... In Twilight, or not Twilight Princess, but in Skyward Sword, that giant like monster that climbs up the mountain, and you have to like stop it like 3 or 4 times in the game.
Oh right, okay.
If it was just really small.
Oh, all right, that is there only
or
one
not
of them?
small, but like the size of like a bear.
Is there only one of them?
No, there's a bunch of them.
Oh, okay.
And they're kind of like the aliens. I mean, it's interesting and it's kind of worth watching, but
unless they're just
I kind of expected. I thought it was gonna be a little bit cooler than it was.
If they came on a space, if they came on like crashed on an asteroid or whatever, fine. But whenever like aliens come on a spaceship and they're all ravenous and like beast-like, that always just seems so fucking stupid to me. Like in like and it looks so cool, but it wasn't. Cowboys and Aliens, like the aliens are all running around on all fours, being all ravenous and shit.
Well, yeah,
but they got there the super
somehow. So they got all this technology, but they're all like primal still.
Yeah, just one of those things.
Or at least it's like if you're gonna do that, show like some intelligent ones like sitting above in space, you know, just kind of like hanging out, being like, "Oh, we're just gonna."
Do these come here in a spaceship, or do they just crash on a planet?
I don't think they came in a space. I think they just crashed.
Oh, like on a meteorite or something.
No, they didn't come on like a meteorite. They just like crashed. I don't know how the fuck they did it. They just kind of crashed into a bunch of them. And the one black kid, or not the one black kid, one of the black kids goes up. His name's like Moses, I think. And he like fucking like stabs the fuck out of this one. And that's why they get all pissed and stuff. He's like, "'Cause you killed that one."
He just saw it and he just started shanking the thing.
Yeah, well, like destroy like a car. And I think like I can't remember. He got like they got angry at it, so they changed. Like, we're gonna fuck that thing up.
Imagine hearing like black slang, like
it's
like
really
urban
weird.
slang,
black slang, and like
England?
proper English. It's really weird. It's a strange combination.
I saw a trailer. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? Oh,
It's one of those like I will say it's like you can watch it like
you probably pick up on
you,
it.
Well, no, you pick up on it, but like when I guess as an American watching it, you're like this just it almost just seems so corny like that like those voices. It just seems like you guys are serious about this. Like you think this is you almost feel like a father. Like you think this is cool. Well, Jimmy, I'll know you're into the gangster rap here, but is it really that cool? I mean, I'll see in America they do, and it seems all fun and dandy, but you're what? And you're English. You go to boarding school for crying out loud.
You're friends with Oliver Twist, for fuck's sake.
But no,
if I knew how they talked in the movie, because I just saw the trailer once a while back.
Yeah, so. It's okay. I don't know. I don't know.
Does Nick Frost talk that way?
No, Nick Frost. He's just like he just sells like marijuana.
Of course he does.
But yeah, he's just kind of there. I mean, it's just one of those ones like it's interesting, but yeah.
I guess if I'll keep my eye out for it, but I won't like try too hard to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like if you see it, it's worth watching. I'd say that. I don't really think it's worth owning. I couldn't really imagine watching it twice.
And they're coming out with the what else? Like Nick. Speaking of all that. The new Edgar Wright movie, End of the World, or This is the End, or The World's End, that's coming out fairly soon. I mean, not fairly soon, but they're starting to release more production stills of it.
But it's getting closer.
It's getting closer. We're probably going to see a trailer pretty soon, I bet. And that one, because he said this is the last of his trilogy, but the Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, and Edgar Wright, and Simon Pegg writing together type trilogy. I think it's called like the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy or something like that.
Huh.
So
that kind of sucks in a way. It's like that's the end, but sometimes 3 is a good number to end things on. Yeah,
and even though they're all kind of like standalone movies. They all kind of have similar jokes that carry on to the next one.
Well, they all it's like this one's if you like one, you'll like the other.
Yeah, they're very much like that, and it's just the same. It usually has a lot of the same cast members in it too.
Huh.
Which this one, like when you think back, as Bill Nye, he was the dad in Shaun of the Dead. Then he had a cameo as the commissioner in Hot Fuzz and all that.
Yeah.
So just a lot of minor, like there's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Yeah.
Yeah, the main character.
But apparently the guy who played Bilbo from The Hobbit, he's in there along with somebody else. So, do you know what this movie's about?
Nope, I haven't seen anything on it.
It's about it's about the end of the world, as the name says. But it's kind of like, all right, this is the last night the world is here. And there's one night they just had like the greatest night of their lives. They just did this total bar crawl over the city. So they're like, it's the last night we're alive. Let's redo this. And just one more time. And that's what the movie's about.
So you go back in time?
They don't go back in time. No, they're just doing it one more time while the world is ending.
So they do it twice?
They do it twice.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to relive the best night of their lives at the end of the world.
I get it. Oh, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Those movies, like, it's like those kind of movies, like, I don't really need to know anymore. You just tell me, like, Edgar Wright doing a movie with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Oh, I'm already there. The
only stills they show, it's very, like, straightforward stuff. Like, them just cheers. Like, nothing that was that visually interesting. They just them cheering, like, you know, like, shots or whatever. And there's one of just Simon Pegg looking, like, psychotic out in the middle of the road with, like, a fire behind him. So, it's going to be probably pretty darker, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah. And there's also another one that's kind of, I'm not sure if End of the World things are just kind of in right now, but there's the Seth Rogen one coming out where it's all the Judd Apatow people, but they're playing themselves at the end of the world.
Oh, that sounds dumb.
Well, it actually, well, here's the thing about it. I thought what was interesting about it was just, I mean, because Judd Apatow kind of hit and miss with me. I think it's kind of cool that they're just playing themselves.
Yeah, because that is different. That doesn't happen too often.
And they acknowledge their actors, and they even kind of rip on each other about movies they've been in the trailer. Because it opens up with Danny Boyle sitting in a house. You know, the house is all boarded up. It has this like creepy red glow coming through, and he's just sitting there, just eating all the food. Like, Danny, what the fuck are you doing? He's all, oh, not Danny Boyle, Danny. That's the director from 28 Days Later.
Well, I was saying, like, well, maybe that he is in this movie.
Danny McBride, that guy. He's sitting there, he ate all the food, they were saving it for a year, like in one night. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh yeah, you guys, like, it's not the end of the world, whatever, you know, he's just all talking shit, you know, just making fun of them all. He points at Seth Rogen, Seth Rogen says, like, he's like, it is the end of the world, man, what the fuck are you doing? He says, like, Seth, if you gave a good of a performance as that right there, you would have an acting career after Green Hornet. You know, so they're actually, at least they're kind of ripping on each other.
Acknowledging it.
There's a part like, Michael Cera was with us last night and he fucking died. He says, Sarah's dead? That wasn't a complete loss, you know? So, it could be good.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Judd Apatow. I really don't like Seth Rogen.
Well, it's all those guys, like Seth Rogen, James Franco, the dude that, I don't remember his name, but he's friends with Seth Rogen and Zack and Miri Make a Porno. He was also one of the hitmen in Pineapple Express, the black dude.
Okay.
Dan McBride, as I said, and then the nerdy Canadian dude.
The nerdy Canadian dude.
He was in Fanboys.
The fat guy?
Not the fat guy. Jonah Hill's in it too. Glasses.
The dark hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that guy.
So
the guy who's also in Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, he's in Tropic Thunder too. Yeah, there you
go. Okay, you can't say the nerdy guy in Fanboys.
I drew a blank. I totally forgot about Tropic Thunder.
That nerdy guy in Revenge of the Nerds.
The guy with the laser in Star Wars.
Yeah. You're like, wait, what?
The guy that did drugs in Scarface. But no. So who knows? That one could be good. So it might. I'm not nearly excited for that as I am for the Edgar Wright one.
Yeah, no, the Edgar Wright one sounds really cool.
Yeah. But yeah. Lingering awesomes.
Yeah. For some reason, I felt all tired all of a sudden. I don't know why. Because that Sprite Zero doesn't have fucking caffeine in it.
I think we just lost our one endorsement right there.
Yeah, it's just like, what the hell? I see why it's called Zero. It's Zero the fun.
Fuck Sprite Zero.
You know, at first you're like, oh, I get a fruity flavor. Now I'm just sitting there going like, what else do I get out of this?
They're gonna sip the Coca-Cola polar bears after us now.
Rabbit is like running up in the snow.
No, there's actually, I kind of always wonder, you know, because you always see those bears out there in those commercials, like, because people go like, oh, it's so cute, you know, during Christmas time, you see the bears just like playing like catch with Coca-Cola bottles or whatever, just like, they all look all like sweet and lovable.
But what happens if like the Coca-Cola truck delivery guy comes by?
They show that, like, just the guy, you see just like one of the bears like going up to like the ice chest, opens it up, it's empty, there's something there. Whoa. And like,
it's all like nice and cute.
Yeah, and the Papa Bear looks over and they just see like this big Coke truck. They just smile. You see the Coke guy
like
just
running over nice and friendly.
No, you just seeing the inside of the car, just the Coke guy driving, just whistling. They're all like me, all scared around, just attack them. Just like flip the thing over.
It's just like us rolling over. Like,
They fucking pull the guy out. They just ripping the guy apart, you know, just violently. The guy's
like the two T-Rex in Lost World. They just like grab the guy and just like shake him and rip him apart.
Next thing you see, the bears all you see like the truck all tipped over with shit spilled everywhere. They're all covered in blood, still playing like Catch with the Coca-Cola bottles, whatever. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, there we go. That's the theme.
That would work.
I think it'd be fine.
Yeah. Do an animation project in case we get bored.
Oh, you know what comes out actually?
What comes out
next month? Is Batman New 52 2. Or the book, at least, not the actual issues of like the Court of Owls.
Oh fuck! I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that comes out. I think comes out in March.
And you're excited because at first you're just kind of like, I'll just borrow them from Ryan. But now you're at the point like you want to read that shit.
That one was like, oh, that Court of Owls was so good.
Especially it was just a different take on something. Like how many times can you like spin a new take on Batman?
Well, I think that's it too. It's just like it was just you just felt like it felt like one of the freshest Batman books I've read in a long time. Because before you're like, this is Batman. This is what he does. Let's see him do it again.
I love the artwork. The artwork looks kind of like a cross between like Frank Miller and the animated series.
Yeah, it looks
and
like
it has like and still, even though those are all kind of like blocky like character designs, they still look very athletic and very sleek at the same time. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean?
I always think that like the Batman the animated series, just the design of that is always like I think it's like you can always add more detail to it if you're going to be in like a comic book, but that's like the pinnacle of like what Batman to me I think looks like. That's like the Batman I think of. Mm-hmm. You know, so you just take him from there. And you throw them into like whatever universe you have, and then you kind of mold them to that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I just that one's like it comes out so soon, and it's like, oh, it's so awesome.
And there's just like that Hulk like Batman from Frank Miller.
Yeah,
it's that Batman.
I can't wait. Batman.
What?
I like when Batman looks big and.
I like buff. Yeah, I like buff Batman.
Like I don't need no athletic
He's always
Batman.
Buff. What?
I don't need no athletic Batman. Robin's the one supposed to be athletic, but Batman just needs to look like the Beast Warrior. Like
well, up until then, I mean, Kevin Smith said this. He's really for a while. Like if you look in the like '70s comics, he's almost kind of like 007 in a cape. And that works. But that's probably most Batmans you see most of the time. But I just love just kind of just like the angry beast-like ripped Frank Miller Batman. A lot.
No, I just like it's just so big. It's just kind of like, and that's kind of like almost like how I feel that Batman just needs to be. Cause, I mean, like since he doesn't have superpowers, let's just make him as like the pinnacle of like man. Almost it's kind of like what Lex Luthor sort of is too.
Even though I still like Superman, a friend of mine sent me a text message today of a image. It's Superman, like 50s Superman, putting on an apron, and someone wrote in a word bubble, I should make a Batman a sandwich before he slaps me like the bitch I am.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. I love Superman, but, after watching Dark Knight Returns, like,
Because, even strange enough, too, even though Lex Luthor is Superman's nemesis, Lex Luthor and Batman as, like, a villains, I think always works really well, too, because both of them are kind of like the pinnacles of man, of just regular man, but Lex Luthor is just, like, the evil version of it, while Batman's, like, the good version of it.
Yeah, because
you really think about it, they both have the gadgets, they both have the money, they both have the technology, the knowledge, the strength,
They almost could be kind of like polar opposite of each other.
It's like they'd make it's like, and you don't see it. The only time you ever see it's like when it's like a Batman Superman crossover. You never just see generally like what that'd be kind of a cool like what if world is if it was just like
Joker was like the Superman.
Well, no, we don't even have to think about Superman. Like Superman's almost not even involved. It's just a Batman story. But what if Lex Luthor was just part of Gotham instead? They
get a point that they're like economic rivals and all that. In the comics, they get a point they hate each other and that they often.
Well, they get that. But I mean, just like without the Superman kind of twist too, because it's always like a Superman kind of ness to it.
And I haven't read it, but in No Man's Land, Lex Luthor is part what happens is a giant earthquake hits Gotham. This is kind of what Dark Knight Rises was somewhat based off of to a certain extent. A massive earthquake hits Gotham, and the prisoners break out. Just anarchy and hell everywhere. Lex Luthor apparently was one of the people that's responsible. Like, I'm not sure how, but I guess they had some kind of device or something that started it. So every so often, Lex Luthor will make his way into a Batman story.
He makes his way into it, but I'm thinking more just
Batman versus Lex Luthor.
Yeah, just like a straight up, like, and no Superman-ness, no, Metropolis.
It leads into that, but in Justice League Unlimited, there's an episode where Batman and Lex Luthor are going at it for a second, and he ends up actually getting... He's in Lex Luthor has like super strength for some reason. And he finds out that he's infected by Brainiac, and then Brainiac just molds out of his chest and shit, and he has like tentacle arms. Yeah,
But just the thing is, just because the fact that Batman and Superman are really like they're almost like that thing like. They're almost so similar, just like that one thing that makes them so different from each other. Yeah. But like other than that, though, when you really just think about it, like if you made a pro and con list, there'd be so many things they're more similar to than they are like not. There's
actually one thing that's pretty cool. This is still not just them like by themselves, but them together in a sense. The final episode for Justice League Unlimited season 2, there's a part where Doomsday, not Doomsday, Darkseid comes down, because that's what the whole episode's about, bringing Darkseid back. Because Lex Luthor is trying to re-tap Brainiac. He loses Brainiac. He's like, Brainiac is what gave me my strength. Brainiac is what gave me my power. But then somehow it all backfires, and the whole time he was being tricked to like bring Darkseid back or something like that. So when he does that, it opens a gate, and you see like the superheroes and the supervillains, because the whole time they're planning to go against the Legion of Doom, teaming together at the very end to stop all the Darkseid creatures attacking. There's the big Superman versus Darkseid, but then while that's going on, fighting his main henchmen, Batman and Lex Luthor are teaming up for that. Lex Luthor's using guns and shit like that.
It's interesting.
So it's kind of like a weird trio that you never thought we'd see.
Team up.
Yeah, and they, instead of just being, because a lot of times you're used to seeing, I mean, we know now Lex Luthor's buff. For a while, they're almost kind of designing Lex Luthor to be kind of like a Donald Trump almost. You know what I mean? Like, even though I love Batman for all seasons, Superman for all seasons by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, he's really he looks like a Donald Trump. He has a little like red puff on his hair. He's kind of balding. He just looks kind of like a stereotypical like evil rich guy.
Evil Billy.
Which makes sense because the book's supposed to be like kind of like 50s and 40s when you look at the artwork.
But I think the idea that like now how they kind of have Lex Luthor molded is that he's just like the pinnacle achievement of man. Like
that's why I love Grant Morrison's Lex Luthor and All-Star Superman.
Yeah,
how he still had that kind of like mad scientist thing going on. He wasn't as much of an evil businessman as he was a mad scientist.
That's how I just think of him as. He's like one of those guys. He's a genius in science. His body's in the perfect condition, you know what I mean? But then he also knows how to use money and stuff. It's like he's got everything almost.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, he doesn't have too much of a weakness, excluding the fact that he almost indulges too much.
Yeah,
that's really his biggest weakness.
He has the biggest ego. He's overly confident.
Yeah, he's overly confident, and then he's always indulging in things. Like he takes things so far that's what kind of almost screws him over.
Exactly. There's actually a part in
Batman doesn't indulge unless it's buying stuff for himself, like the best computer in the world, and the best car, and
the best plane,
or the best pair of boots, best pair of underwear.
Well, he has a scenario for everything. He has literally a scenario for everything.
Now, Robin, he just gets the hand-me-downs. Especially, like, Robin 3, he's wearing fucking Dick Grayson shorts from 1962.
You think Tim Drake had to come in and say, listen, I'm not wearing the fucking shorts. You know? Either I gotta be Robin, not wearing the shorts, or everyone's gonna know you're fucking Batman.
Plus, you gotta sign this contract, too. This is my lawyer. He says we have to have a written agreement here.
His name is Matt Murdock. Don't worry. He can't see you. He doesn't know who you are.
But he does smell you.
Yeah. No, but what was I going to say regarding that? Fucking
Daredevil.
Not Daredevil. Still, I want to say something regarding Batman and Lex Luthor.
Batman, Lex Luthor,
oh yeah,
Daredevil.
And there was actually a book called Superman Birthright, where what it was is one of those things where they kind of went back and they tried to do, I guess, I want to say it came out like early 2000s or mid 90s, where they went back and they tried to, must have been like probably early 2000s. They tried to retell the beginning of Superman. You know, like, okay, here's, I guess, sort of Superman year one, without calling that. It's a lot more vibrant, a lot more brighter. And in that one, they present Lex Luthor pretty interesting, and they bring in the whole aspect. I mean, I think this maybe came after Smallville, but they bring in the whole part about like how they knew each other, and how they knew each other in Smallville, and they were friends. And Lex Luthor's father was trying to use him and all that. Mm-hmm. And that Lex Luthor, by the time he became, you know, who we all know him as Lex Luthor now, he didn't remember who Clark Kent was because he was just so full of himself.
Yeah.
And he tried to actually get the whole city to turn on Superman by using holograms. Like, oh yeah, look, they're attacking. He had people like he just had like his own like kind of death squad going around attacking Metropolis. But then he had had like holograms or projectors or something, so they looked different. They looked like Kryptonians.
Huh.
And they're all rocking a Superman S too. So.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty good book.
Huh. Superman. Batman.
probably not as good as All Stars. It's not All
No,
Star.
All Star Superman's really good.
Or not as good as the New 52 Superman by Grant Morrison.
Yeah, that's another really good one.
Which she had a lot. I was after reading the back of the All Stars, not the All Star, the Grant Morrison New 52 one. It's kind of funny. She's like, I just want to make kind of Lex Luthor the worst kind of guy. The guy would kind of be condescending to you, talking down to you at electrical store, drinks energy drinks all the time. It's just.
He just seems like he's an evil prick.
Yeah, but he was good in that. He was really good.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
we
I
got
think
now?
it seems like a good place to end it.
One thing I want to. I was actually on Marley Silverbrand's podcast a little while ago. I was in him 2 in a row. Cinephiles podcast. Generally, we try and focus on movies. We talk about nerd stuff as well, though. So, as he would put it. So, anyway.
Just because he thinks he's a nerd.
He's so much more. But no. Anyway, you type in... it's Cinephiles. He spells it kind of weird. So, type in Silver Dome Productions on YouTube, and you'll get a link to his page. And they're on there.
CINEF... Or PHILE. Yeah, what throws me off.
Yeah, but Silver Dome Productions usually works fine too. And there's more than one cinephile. So, type in Silver Dome Productions. Check it out. Yeah, anyway.
But, well, check out the Old Man Orange website at oldmanorange.com. Or send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we'll see you later.